How to create a kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class in under 7 minutes. Okay, let's get into it because we don't have too long. So we are going to plan a class for a 6 to 9 years age group today. So 6 to 9 years. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is adaptability. Yes, we plan a class. Yes, we want to be organized, but we also need to be adaptable. That is the word of the day, adaptable. Adaptability, because sometimes it's going to be a full moon and those kids are going to come in and their class, no matter how great you planned it, is never going to work, and that's okay. Be okay with that. So I start my classes the same way every single time. The kids come and line up, we have a joke, they fist bump, whatever, high five. They feel like they're included, they belong, but it also creates structure and routine, which creates predictability and safety. So we line up. I know this is the easiest part. Then we have a warm up. Now I don't do shrimping, I don't do forward rolls, but if you do, that's cool. Whatever your warm up looks like, that's personal to you. You warm up. Now I like to plan my classes that I have around 3, sometimes 4 games that each run for around 3 to 4 minutes. So we're gonna have maybe 3 games, 3 to 4 minutes. Now for this class, we are going to plan a triangle submission. So we're going to start with an easier game. Just to warm up, we're going to start in a closed guard position. Now when we start in our closed guard position, because we're planning for 6 to 9s, I do expect that some of these kids will already know what a closed guard is. So when I'm teaching, I will usually say, hey, does anyone know the name of this position? And they'll tell me it's a closed guard because I like them to know the actual names of things. Mainly so that if they ever go to another gym, they have some kind of concept and understanding of what they're being taught. So that doesn't mean that I use that all the time though. So what I do use is my dungeon and my dragon and my castle. So I'm gonna say, does anyone know the name of this position? And they're gonna say it's closed guard. And I'm gonna say, yes, the dragon is locked in the dungeon and the dragon wants to try and escape, but the dragon is gonna be really, really stuck because the dungeon is gonna try and keep it locked up all the time. And the soldiers of the castle are gonna try and keep pulling that dragon into the castle all the time. That's just how I talk. Again, you do you. So we start with a closed guard. Then I'm going to start with a loose triangle game. Loose triangle. Why? Because I want them to get the concept of a head and arm. So when they've got that concept of the head and arm, then they're going to start to understand that that's what they need to be able to have a triangle in the first place. After this, I'm going to do a locked triangle game. And in this one, again, I'm going to take the time to explain to my children who I actually want to win the game. Because if I'm locking children up in a full triangle, I don't expect the top player to be able to escape. And I also don't expect them to try that hard to try and get out of it. Because otherwise they're going to have a sore neck or they're going to go to sleep. And I don't want either of those things in my 6 to 9 years kids class or any class.
Hey guys, we're going to get back into the video in just a second, but I wanted to ask you a quick question. Are you tired of feeling overwhelmed with your kids' Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu classes? Do you feel like you're planning and planning, but nothing is going right? Are you leaving each day feeling like it was more chaos than connection? Well, you might be interested in my game-based coaching for kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have developed 10 games for kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches just like you. 10 games for kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches to implement in their kids' classes that will keep kids engaged, having fun, and learning real Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills for longer. You don't have to do this alone, and that's why I'm here to support you on your Jiu-Jitsu coaching journey. If you're interested, click on the link below, and let's get back into the video.
So I will usually say something like, yes, we're locked up. I do think that the bottom player is going to win though, because it's pretty tight, and I really just want the top player to try and resist a little bit and then just make sure that they tap when they feel that it's on. It's pretty straightforward. But that's how I plan it. And then after this, I go into sparring. So after I've planned my things, I've planned my games, I've got my 3 games, I like to go into sparring. My kids do sparring every single session. It varies how many rounds they do. It also varies on the level of the kids that I have in my class as to how much sparring and who they spar with. But like my kids know, sparring means that it's almost the end of the session. Be the same way that they know that lining up means it's the beginning of the session, they know sparring, that means the end of the session is coming. And then at the end, again, we line up. I start my classes the same way I ended them. I end my class the same way I start them. It just creates that predictability and routine for them. Again, so important. Now, the most important part here, yes, I have planned my classes. Yes, we have an idea of what we're gonna do. But again, what's our keyword of the day? Adaptability. because sometimes it's not going to go your way. So always have a plan B. Just make sure that you actually have written it down somewhere. You don't have to be strict with it. You don't have to stick it with your little piece of paper and read what you've got to do and then follow it, but make sure you actually put it somewhere so that you have it in your head what you intend to do. And that, my friends, is how you plan a kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu session in, I'm hoping, 7 minutes. If you like all this content, please like and subscribe and follow along on the Art of Coaching Instagram, where I share daily tips and tricks all about kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and how to be a better kids Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach.